How you doing, Thurm?
It's good to see Thurm. Let me tell you, I texted Thurm something. Thurm, good to see you, by the way. I texted him and said that this one hurt like the old days did.
It was a punch to the gut.
A lot of people don't know this. You were at the game.
Yeah.
Tell that's why.
Yeah, I was at the game, so went out for the coin toss and, met Patrick Mahomes and Willie Lanier was their guy. Yeah. So, I'm there for the game and, it comes down. I got my sheet ready and whatever, so I was going to be the one that would present the Buffalo Bills with the Lamar Hunt Trophy.
Mm.
And
something happened. Yeah.
Something happened.
Something happened.
And I looked at the lady and she said, "You can probably leave now."
Yeah. This was at the end of the game.
This was at the end of the game.
You were on the sidelines.
Right, yeah.
Right there. Because it was
I was in the tunnel. I was in there
right there.
Yeah, I was in the tunnel.
And the game was right there.
Yeah. And she said that, and I just walked. I don't even know how I got outside the stadium. I didn't even go back to my suite. I didn't even go back to the suite. I left, and then I'm walking. I just went out and just started walking or whatever, and all of a sudden, confetti comes down. I'm like, really? Is this really happening right now? And so I text Patty, let her know where I was at, and everybody was in the suite crying.
Yeah.
Patty and Josh's mom were crying. It was, it was a really.
It was hard.
It was really hard, man. And even today, I'm still not over it, man. Yeah. It's still not, because yes, I know how it is as a player, but now I'm like, I'm a fan. We're fans.
Yeah.
And to see all the Bills fans like walk out of there, it was like, it was bad. Yeah. It was very sad, and like I said, it still hurts me still today to see, like, why is this always happening to us?
Yeah.
And I don't know the reason why. We just have to, get better at the positions that we need to get better at. I mean, there's nothing else that we can do.
Yeah. We've been talking about it, and today was Brandon's press conference. I don't know if you heard any of it, but we were everybody's kind of preoccupied with the Chiefs and the Eagles and the Ravens and the teams that we played and beat and didn't beat, and everybody's like, what about the Chiefs? What about the Chiefs? And Brandon's, rightly so, kind of alluded to, listen, it isn't about the Chiefs. This is about us. We're just going to get better. We're going to fix our problems, try and get our roster even better.
Right.
And we're going to keep, because we got to beat 30 teams, not just the Chiefs, but 30 other teams as well, starting with our division. So it's about the Bills getting themselves better, making taking the opportunity, spending their money wisely, getting the players they need, and getting better, and then playing their best on that day again.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, because it's so hard not to sit here and watch the Chiefs and zig when they zag, and whenever they do, you do the other, and whatever, or whatever. You build your whole team around what they're doing, and to get over it, to beat that hump, then all of a sudden you're third in your division and you're going home.
Yeah, I think for us, I mean, like, going into next year, even with the draft and the free agent and all the stuff that you have going on, like, we need to come out next year and be like that team that everybody talks about every single week. And when you do that, then you have that opportunity, and I've said it 2 years ago and 3 years ago, we need to go for that number one seed. I think that is kind of the great teams have done it. The Patriots and now the Chiefs. We didn't win it, but we had 3 out of the 4 years we had home field advantage.
We said that to ourselves too preseason. I remember. Am I misremembering in that we had the conversation like we need to get the one seed?
Yeah. We had conversations like that all the time.
All the time.
And I think this team needs it.
I think one of the things
I think it for the psyche that we're the best team in the AFC because we got the number one seed.
And offenses can communicate more effectively at home. You can use more pre-snap motion because the communication is easier. And Steve pointed this out to me last week with the bye. how much extra work can your coaches do to not only get ready for the next opponent, but already start advanced scouting the opponent after that?
Right.
You don't think they were getting to work on Buffalo and Baltimore when they were getting set to play the Texans? I mean, they had a bye week. That whole bye week, they're saying, okay, who are we probably going to play in the division, in the championship round? You know, well, there's only two possibilities here. So let's get, you get half your scouting department. You're on these guys. All right, you're on these guys.
Yeah.
And you have a whole week to do that.
A whole week to do that. Yeah.
It does help.
That's the other built-in advantage of getting the bye.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You just said something that kind of sparked a question in my head. You said you were, having been a player and experiencing, bad playoff performances in your career, not as a team I'm talking about, and then now experiencing it as a fan, does one hurt any more than the other? Because as a player, you at least have some measure of control over the outcome. As a fan, you have zero. So which is more difficult for you?
Yeah, I have an opinion about this. Go ahead. You tell me yours.
Mine is I actually wanted to be out there helping them. I wanted to be out there on the field. I want to be a part of this because I'm kind of used to it.
Right.
Yeah. So, I wanted to be out there with them, helping them.
So being a fan and watching these losses happen would you say is harder for you to take?
I think it is
stick
harder
with you longer?
Yeah, it has been. I'm still not over it today, and it's been 4 days. And so, I think as a fan, walking out of there and feeling that, that numbness and not going into, the locker room and shaking his hand or whatever, outside and seeing the fans go by. I mean, it's just I wanted to help them so bad, and I knew that I couldn't.
I agree with Thurm. It's harder as a fan because as a player, I mean, it's going to hurt. This is going to hurt for a while because now the season's over and it's over abruptly. Yeah, you're done, and it really hurts till you get back into your routine and you got to go on with. It does stick with you, but you also, and this is the same way for a tough loss in the regular season, even more so. You got to spin it forward because you got another thing to do. You got another game to go to, and they'll get to that when it starts coming around. They'll start, It's easy for them to spin it forward because now they got to say, all right, I got to get in shape. I got to do some stuff, stay active. I don't want to just vacation for a month and a half. Right. I got to start, whatever. So they start spinning forward, start working again towards having an effect on the game. Yeah. And fans, all we can do is just sit here and stew. That's all you can do. You don't get to. You can start looking forward to it, but there's nothing you can do to help it or make the clock run faster. And
I'll tell you this, too. From a standpoint, when I saw it today, it was I think it was this morning where, Josh is not going to play in this AT&T Pro-Am.
Pebble Beach.
So things have already started to change because Josh loves golf. He loves playing in that tournament out there. This year is not. So it affects the players in different ways, and I'm sure it's affecting him now because, he said I just read somewhere where he's not playing.
Yeah. So his hand also got dinged up in the game too.
It did, but that's a tournament that he loves to go to.
Yeah,
and it's a nice tournament to go to too. So
yeah.
But even more things have changed. He's probably okay. What do I got to do? Let me just take a week off because I know if I go to this Pro-Am or whatever, I'm going to get asked the same question over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's exhausting.
And that's exhausting. So, hey, good on you, Josh.
Yeah.
Do you, does anything come to mind immediately when you think about how this team gets better to get over the hump? Does anything come straight to the forefront of your mind immediately that you say, this needs to happen?
I think for me, Brownie, look, the run game is there. We got our running backs.
O-line's there.
O-line is there. Tight end, still there. But you know what? I need for us to bring in some more guys that are going to push Keon Coleman a little bit. Not just, okay, the job is yours from the rookie standpoint. Get guys that, I used to always think your first guy is your first guy, but if your first guy is not playing well, that second guy is good enough to come in and make plays and might put you on the bench. So I think
competition.
The competition, has to be like, hey, I love all the things that Matt Hollins has done, all of them. But we need somebody to push him too. And I think that goes for the defensive line too. I would like to see, they did a great job this year of taking away the football. Mm-hmm. But the sacks were down. Weren't getting the pressure.
Down 15 from last year.
Down 15 from last, and that's a big number. It didn't basically touch Mahomes the entire day.
I mean, essentially, you replaced Leonard Floyd with Von Miller, who was back full time, and you got half of the production. Floyd 10.5 sacks last year. Yeah. Von comes in and essentially is Leonard Floyd, 5 sacks. So and it wasn't just him. I mean, there's other people too that are part of that equation. I mean, Greg Rousseau probably had the most consistent season, but Ed Oliver in 2023 had 9.5 sacks. I think he had 3 this year.
Right.
So there were drops precipitously across the front there, and I don't know if you need an elite guy because those aren't easy to find, and nobody's selling them on the open market for peanuts either.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's not an easy answer to fill.
And you're drafting 30th. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other
Myles
part.
Garrett at 30th.
I know, right?
I mean, he's not.
It'd be nice.
It would
be very nice.
It would be nice, yeah. But you're just not. I mean, you're gonna have to give up a couple of farms for that.
Right. So it's and we're gonna ask this question probably next week some point. In the big picture, it certainly great season for the Bills. I mean,
no doubt.
It was the best offensive year in the franchise's history.
In the franchise history,
including
points,
the old K1 K-gun days. I mean, they really rung it up this year, and it was impressive to see. They ran the ball really well this year.
Yeah, they did a lot of great.
They
things
did a lot
this
of
year.
really outstanding things, and this mantra they came into the preseason with everybody eats turned out to be exactly the way they ran it, and it paid dividends in a lot of different ways. What's your big picture look at where the franchise at? Brady was just saying there's been 2 teams that have won a playoff game in the last 6 years in a row. It's Kansas City and Buffalo.
Right.
It's the only 2 teams.
That's the list.
That's the list?
That's it? That's it. So there are 2 teams that are elite, always contending. You're one of them, but you're still an afterthought after all of that.
Yeah.
What's your big picture take?
Big picture? I think we're set player-wise where we can do some things, add some pieces here, add some pieces there. I think with the way that our division is, they can win 3 more division AFC titles, East titles in a row in this division that we're in. Now, I think the Patriots will be a little bit tough. With Vrabel there, leading the ship there. Now Aaron Glenn. So now we got to prepare. Now we got to prepare for 2 more of the coaches, right? Mike Vrabel and Aaron Glenn. I just think that I think this organization and its fan base is in a good spot. I really truly believe that.
As disappointing and crushing as it was in the end.
At it as it is, I think if we continue to, build and keep building offense, defense, and special teams, I think we're in a spot where for the next 5 years we can compete and still win a Super Bowl. Yeah.
Thurm, thanks for popping in, giving us your thoughts.
Yeah.
I hope you feel better in the next few days
I
and
know.
get over this.
I know.
I'm sorry it's sticking with you as long as it has. Brandon
Listen,
he's still frustrated
it would stick
too.
with everybody if they were in that spot. Sitting
know.
there waiting to take.
Sitting there
You're going to be a part of it.
I was going to be a part of it. I had my line memorized and everything.
I feel so bad for you, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was at a point where I think I probably would have started crying when I handed it over to Lamar and Trump before to the Pagodas.
Yeah, it's quite a moment to think about, but
well, we'll see if we can get you on the docket for next year.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what, though, they were right to ask you to do it. You're the guy that should be doing it.
I appreciate it.
All right, good to see you, Thurm. We'll catch up with you down the line here.